go. Ken Lundin here, your host for the B2B Sales Summit. And I have with me today Dan Waldschmidt, who I've got to tell you, about the second day that I thought of doing this summit, I ran across this guy and I was like, this man has got to get in here. And so he is just going to knock it down. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing fantastic, my friend.
Yeah, it's awesome. So let me tell you why I brought Dan in. So Dan is a best-selling author. His book, Edgy Conversations, has sold over 500,000 copies. And in case you're counting, that's probably more than the top 10 sales influencers throughout the world. So that's kind of the first gig. Not only is he a best-selling author, he's a motivational speaker. And when he's got some downtime, which isn't very often, he decides to run ultra marathons, which are disgusting and sick and a total punishment of the body, Dan. So not only those things, but let me tell you why you should care about him from a sales perspective. Dan advises companies all over the world, and over the course of 18 months, he helped them create $18 billion, that's a billion with a B, folks, $1 billion in new revenue. Yeah. So I am stoked to have Dan on board, and he's not too far from me, but he's ready to rock because I got him going in the pre-road. You ready for this?
Dude, I'm ready, man. Start the engines.
Yeah, I think we already did. We primed him up a little. Here we go. So, hey, here's what we know, Dan, and I'm going to throw the ball over to you because I just want to jump into this stuff because we're here to provide some value for people. Yeah. The world of sales is a crapshoot today. It's completely changed from where it was. I mean, that's the theory. Yeah. And I don't know that the stuff we're doing today actually makes sense. I mean, talk to me a little bit about your view about the world of sales.
Yeah, so I absolutely agree. World sales is changing. I remember reading the first time Jill Conrath came out with a book and she was talking about sales is changing. My buddy Anthony Iannarino, two great people I love, Jill and Anthony, talking about sales and how it's changed and all this great stuff. And I was like, yeah, of course, it's changing. And what's funny is fast forward maybe a decade or half a decade, and it's still changing. Like, surprise, surprise, Ken. Right. It's changing. So the problem is the kernel of sales hasn't changed. The ethos of it hasn't changed. And inspiring minds, great results come from manipulating that or leveraging that. Let's use that word, leveraging that. The problem is people have so much information and there's so many tools out there that well-meaning advisors and experts and pundits and sales managers come up with all these kind of cockamamie workflows that are supposed to drive value. We say top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, closing tactics, all these strategies, demand generation, lead generation, prospecting. We have all of these discrete functions. Amazing. We can now chunk them up. I mean, guys like you can tell war stories about someone handing us a phone book and saying, go out there and prosper, You're like,
I probably still have a reverse directory somewhere.
Oh yeah. You're like, I'm totally screwed. What did I get myself into? But you built yourself a multi-million-dollar empire. I built multi-million-dollar empire being handed a phone book. But now it's silly. If I were to go to somebody and say, here's a phone book, do it like I did, you're going to be successful. You would go, dude, you're an idiot. Yeah. But we won't question somebody who says, here's how I did, predictable revenue generation modeling using inbound sales reps and great emails that dripped out on people sent by Gmail, right? No one will challenge that. They'll be like, oh, wow, that's great. That's amazing. You must be a genius. No, that guy is a hardworking individual who did fantastically well. We should all cheer for him. We should copy his clues. We shouldn't necessarily copy his strategies. So, by the way, as a brief anecdote, I remember Adobe puts on a conference every year called 99U, amazing conference. And they wrote a blog post that stuck with me. I forwarded it to all my people and clients and friends because I loved it. And they said, basically, here's why you won't be on our stage, why you won't be. And they basically said, there are people who create and ideate, the Steve Jobs of the world, the Steve Wozniaks, the Bill Gates, and there are many more. I'm just highlighting a few. Who just create this magical stuff. And then there are others, Johnny Ives. I mean, just so magical that it blows our mind. And then there are people who are great aggregators, and they bring in the best of here and here and here and here, and they make something that goes, that's pretty cool. That's amazing. And then after about step 2, there's the step 3 is the people who write about the people who aggregate, who aggregate the awesome stuff in 1, and then 4 writes about 3 and 5 writes about 4, and you get it, 6, 5, 7, 6, all the way up. And they said about the time your application to speak on our stage arrives, you're 8 talking about 7, or you're 9 talking about 8. You're so removed from this practical ideation and success that that you just don't get it. And there's not a lot of value. It's just regurgitation of the last event or conference or position or company that you were at. And I think, Ken, a long answer for a very short, important question is this, is that we find ourselves in this exact same problem, situation, challenge, whatever you want to put in there as the noun. We find ourselves in the exact same place where we're very good at Googling stuff. And we're very good at, oh, this person did this. And we're great at punching up headlines. Learn how I made 17 billion for my clients. I mean, I could use that till the cows come. Look at the logos, look at these testimonials. We punch up all of this stuff. And yet most people who I will give away all of my ideas and strategies, which is I'm going to do here. If you're watching, I'm going to give you my exact strategies. I mean, I'll give them to you. Here's what I know though. You're not willing to be vulnerable enough to actually realize the same results that I get. And you're going to go away and go, oh, that Dan Waldschmidt guy was full of shit. No, you're full of shit because you're not willing to dig into the underbelly of what's really happening to strengthen your core message so that you can have results that are 1,000 or 10,000% better than what you're experiencing right now.
That's awesome. So my question to you then would be, if that's the case, talk to me a little bit more about why don't I want to do that? We all say, hey, I want to be the guy who crushes it. I want to be the guy who's the number one guy in the world, the country, my company, my town. What's getting in the way of us doing that?
There are several things. I think the number one most important thing, the most damaging thing is not a willingness to work. It's a willingness to not work. Now, for some people listening, you're like, dude, I don't even know where you went, but let's talk to you. You're willing to go through your prospecting list, right? And you've got a list. In fact, I've got a cool list here. It's called Notes of Awesomeness, right? It's a really, really cool list. And on this, I write down everything that needs to get done. And it's pretty cool. I get stuff done. That's what I do. But this process requires us to go back to almost nothing, almost a state of meditation where we stop all of the busyness, the email sending, the massive phone call making, and we stop. We say, stop, time out. I'm taking a timeout, right? As a coach, as a player, as a leader, timeout. All my players come off the game. And we are going to huddle up and talk about domination. We're going to talk about transformation. We are not going to talk about iteration because, by the way, what a great, that's a Southern Baptist preacher right there, right? When you can go Asians, I don't know. But we're so busy doing things that we come home exhausted and tired and a phone full of calls and emails. And we're like, oh, I'm going. And we then wonder why we don't grow or wonder why it's a 1 or 2% delta. And it's inside us. And so I think the number one challenge is there are some people who don't want to work. Those people are probably not watching this. You're watching this because Ken said, I've got some fucking kick-ass people that you don't have access to that I've got access to that I'm going to bring in front of you. So thank you, by the way, for inviting me.
Thank you.
So that's why you're here. But so you're willing to work. Congratulations. Here's what I'm challenging you. Are you willing to not work for a day or 2 days? And so that you can create something that is so awesome that people say, I want to give you my money. How do I give you so much money? You can do all of this for me. Price isn't an issue. Profit's not an issue. It's all about just massive, massive results.
Man, that sounds great. Sign me up.
Awesome. Hold on. For the low payment of, but you get these bonuses. Here's my 5 bonuses, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You always have to. All right, so let's jump into it. That's a great framework that starts this conversation about, what is happening in sales, why this stuff today, why there's so much mediocrity. The statistics go as high as 70% of people miss quota. And then the other one that everybody's seen is in the summit, because you've seen it all over my stuff, is 8% of the salespeople out there take home 80% of the cash, 80% of the commission. So let's talk about sales transformation. I know you're a guy who only takes on clients who want to grow at 1,000%. This 100% stuff doesn't work for you. So start to walk me through what that process would look like with you.
So the first thing you'll know, I want to share with everyone here is that while I'm a strategy guy, I'm really a strategy execution guy. See, part of that busyness, all that busy stuff you've got going on, and most of our clients are publicly traded or larger, mid-sized to larger companies because you got to afford someone like myself who can come in and help you get that next 1,000%. But what's interesting is that the busyness you're experiencing in that step is your greatest enemy, because you're so busy. You think you need to keep rolling the rock uphill. What you don't know is it's a Sisyphean exercise, and you should just stop and let the rock roll down and crush everyone behind you. Like, just let go of it so you can move on to that next level of greatness. So that's number one. Number two is we dog food this ourselves. So the way we get massive engagement is we're literally the same strategy that I give to deploy to someone else is the exact same thing, except perhaps it's even more extreme with myself because I'm willing to push more limits than other people. So just know that. This is not theory. This is not someone telling you something that might work. It does work. And by the way, I'll tell you how well it works later. So just listen, and the stats will blow your mind. So,
yeah, and check out, and I'd say anyone watching this, check out where we're at, because right here is where you want to get your pen out and start listening to Dan. So
exactly. That's right. If you've got your notepad of awesome, this is where you can actually get busy taking some notes. So fundamentally, you've got to start back at zero. So we really have two rules for how we do business, candidly. I mean, and it's very simple. One, be incredibly easy to do business with. And two, be so awesome, people ask you for more. So that's it. These are the guidelines, the guide rails around which every strategy we do is. And so every company policy, every sales process, every marketing venture comes down to these things. So just know my framework, my mindset for how I'm coming to an opportunity or an industry. I want to create something so marvelous, so magical, that the people in this industry say, like, how much money can I give you? Because I'm assuming if we gave you $5 and you made us this much amazing, maybe I could give you 50 and you could 10x it.
Right.
Yes, we can. Fantastic, right? So that's my guiding principle. By the way, some of you watching, you make it so hard for someone to engage with you. You've got to fill out a form and then sign up for here's my Calendly link, and you click on that and it takes you a panel where I have to choose something and I have to do all this work, and you're so afraid of getting personal and just picking up the phone and saying, hey, you know, one of our secrets, when you sign up for our newsletter, we actually shoot a custom video and we'll say, hey, how are you? We love you. Thank you for signing up for our newsletter. Every single person, sometimes that's 40 or 50 people or more a day, we do to send a custom link to somebody to build engagement. Again, be so awesome, people ask for more. Some of you are so eager at churning more people on your list. I need more prospects. No, you need more fucking intimacy. You need intimacy.
Yeah.
Those people need to know that you really, really, really love them, right? That they care about you, that you care about them. And so step number one is really redefining the stories we tell ourselves about volume. Again, we all say, it's quality over quantity, and then spend 90% of our sales day chasing quantity.
Yeah, there's no such thing. But I interviewed John Barrows a little bit ago, and he goes, mass personalization, there's no such thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Anytime you say mass and customization or anything like that, you know, it's all going out the window, right? It's going out the window. You've lost. So just know that it takes time to create what we've called, kind of pioneered, a box of awesome. And so what we said was, this came from the tech world. So we've got great success. Clients I can share have been Microsoft and Oracle and Cisco and some amazing clients like this in the tech sector. And what's cool about SaaS products or selling SaaS is that most of that work can be done automagically, right? You put it in and little robots go and send emails. And when someone replies, you take them out of a funnel, put them in this funnel, do this thing. Right. I know there's a lot of hand waving. I feel like I need to hit somebody. So apologies for all of you watching. I know it's like, what? I don't know what his hand is. Yeah, I get it.
Just challenges the video focus. That's all.
Yeah, that's right. So in this process, I thought, wait a minute. So we're making it incredibly easy for people to engage with us. Rule number one, check. But rule number two, be so awesome, people ask for more. I don't think we're doing that. And some of it goes back to what you just said, this mass customization, mass automation. I thought, what could we do if we flipped the script? So I'm selling you a low cost or an ongoing subscription. What could I do if I actually sent you something, a physical something? You know, maybe for me, it's just I got this close by. I send you a notepad, or something. And this is not awesome. This is cool. This is not awesome, by the way. Let's define things. So what can I do that's so awesome? You're like, I need to sign with these guys right now. And so that began this process where we took, again, we decided we had to be not busy, took a break, called time out and said, let's redefine this process. So we deployed a model that looked very similar to other people's sales models. In other words, you're sending emails, you're making phone calls, you're doing things on a schedule, and some of it's automated, but it requires people to do it, right? We were doing something that looked very similar to other people. However, while other people were getting 0.1% marketing from their Pardot emails or Marketo emails or any other sophisticated enterprise technology, we were getting responses. We were getting replies on our first email, and I have the stats to show it somewhere, right? I have the stats to show it because I knew it would blow people's minds, where 30+% of people were responding, replying to our messages. And it wasn't screw you, and it wasn't go away. It was like, hey, let's talk. And so what ended up happening, by the way, is over the process of our cadence, of our flow, we actually engaged, Ken, with 98% of our people. Let me tell you what that means. We gathered data on 400 enterprises. Again, I didn't say 4,000 or 40,000, 400. Let me tell everyone watching, all of these were cold. I hear people say, oh, I don't cold call. We don't prospect it for cold people. We want it warm. By the way, there's warm calling. There's
how the hell are you supposed to grow if you only talk to your friends?
That's right. I have no friends, so I would never grow, right? This would be impossible. So I thought, well, these are all cold. So literally, we had 400 companies that we thought might fit into our target. As a speaker, most of my work is done by the biggest companies in the world. And in that circuit, in the CEO, SVP, EVP world, I'm the guy you call when you actually need something to work. You're going to hire McKinsey. You're going to hire Bain. You're going to hire Boston Consulting. And then 6 months later, when you're not happy with the results, someone goes, wasn't there this dude named Dan? He was a real crackpot. He had a bunch of crazy ideas. Maybe we should call him. And then you call me and go, dude, what should we do? And I say, let's fix it. Let's fix it. And I solve your problem. So now I was growing from that spot into this world where I thought, what if I could deliver this message on stages to groups and associations around the world, where not just impacting one company on one day, but imagine if I could impact 200 and 2,000. This idea was like bubbling over in my head. And I said, yes, let's go do it. So then who are the people who have the keys to those stages? By the way, these are the same questions you should be asking yourself. Different scenarios, but the same process.
Yeah, no, I think that's one thing that we want to make sure, right? This process is about how to go engage with potential cold traffic, cold prospect, go figure out how to go do it. Hey, will you tie something together for me? You had said, send them something, give them an awesome gift, that kind of thing. And then you had talked about the email. Can you talk about how those interrelate?
Oh, absolutely. So we have that process, and I was taking a step back to tell you what I did.
Okay.
So in my scenario, I said, I want to get on these stages. Here are the 400 companies or individuals at those companies that I think we want to engage with. So I put that list together. Right? This is step one. Put that list together. And by the way, I didn't just put together a list of like people in my industry or big name companies. We got detailed. We created an avatar called Bob. And I knew Bob, where he shopped and who he talked to and words he used and all this stuff. I know from being on TV that Bob would get on CNBC and use very sophisticated language. And then he would leave to the green room and go, oh, God damn it, where's my fucking car? Right? Real life CEOs and executives who on TV were very straight-laced and polished. They would get off the camera, because I know I was on those TV shows right behind them, and then curse and swear. And I thought, here I am looking up to these guys as like fountains of like, perfectness, and they're real people. So anyways, I put together that list, real list. And then I had my team begin to research them. LinkedIn, Twitter, other social aspects. I needed several things. One, do they look like they're the right fit? Do I have an address for them? And then do I have a phone number that's reliable for them? By the way, it's obvious you need an email. So
email. That's the one thing everybody already has, because that's all anyone's doing.
That's all they're doing. So I needed these bits of information. Number one, does it pass the smell test? They're likely. Two, what's their address? Because I'm going to send them something. So I need to do that research first. I don't want to scramble. Then I said, do I have a phone and do I have an email for them? And so that was the baseline. And okay, everyone watching, this takes time. Okay. So you do not roll out of bed on Monday and go, I'm going to do this Friday. Okay. You're going to fail because this takes time, and it takes this raw rage that to adhere to the process, to get it right. Don't just go, oh, I think this is his email. Oh, I think this is his phone. Damn it. Do your job and make sure you get good information, because it matters. Okay. Out of 400 people, Ken, we realized that half of them were no longer important or mattered. So our initial research said good. So all of my numbers would have been off by 100%, Ken, 100%, from 200 to 400. Realize that 400 was a bad number. It was really 200 that I wanted to go after. So I had now 200. And then what I did was I said, okay, what could I send to these people? Now answering your question about the box of awesome. What could I send to these people that they would open up and they would be like, wow, this is amazing. And so I said, I don't want to just send them something. I want to control the entire experience. Now I'm looking around in my office here, home office, but for most of you who've not been a part of the Edgy Empire, as we call our company, you know that we have a simple colors: black, red, white, I guess. Those are our colors. Everything we do with those colors, same process, same everything. That's just what we do. And so I thought, let's get a box. We had custom-made cardboard boxes that were, 10 inches or so by 6 inches, bright red box, white lettering, box of awesome written on it, our logo, which is our fist right there. And then I said, now what can we put inside of it? So I wanted to put a signed copy of my book. Remember who I'm going after. They need to know who I am. Then besides the book, we had bracelets. Some of you, I have bracelets that I wear right now. Some of you may find this offensive, but our #1 best-selling bracelet says, fuck excuses. Okay, you may get upset at me for using rough language. Believe it or not, we sell like 30,000 of these a year. Give away and sell 30,000 of these because people love them. Especially if you're going into a turnaround on a company, you put this on, people go, oh, wow, we're serious. Anyways, we put some bracelets in there. These are all inside a custom wrapper. There's not just raw in there. We put notepads, like a notepad of awesomeness. And I would write here, like #1, open box of awesome. And I would already have it checked off, right? Because I knew they had opened it. And then #2 would say something like, check out Dan's cool shit. And then #3 would be like, go have an awesome day. And it was very, very simple, but also let them know that this is intimate. It's personal for you. I had notepads. I had books. We put a pair of custom vintage made brown leather boxing gloves that I handmade, and it was either Pakistan or Afghanistan, but the whole shipment got flagged coming back from customs. I think they thought we were like bringing opium or something back. It was just custom boxing gloves that smelled really weird. It's like that friend you have over whose clothes smell like weed. That's what my boxing gloves smelled like. So we put the pair in there. On the strap, they're like professional gloves. On the strap, it said, stay edgy, be awesome, right on the strap. So incredibly like high quality sort of goods. So I had my box. My box cost between $250 and $300, including shipping. So I had my box. And I had a process, almost like an assembly line. Box, then this goes in, then this goes in. And then we tinkered with it. We're like, now, how would this look after it's been shaken? So we picked up our box, put everything in it, shook it, pounded it, threw it against the wall, kicked it with our feet, and we said, oh, we've got a problem. See that bright red box, which looks super sexy? After it's got a few dents in it, the paint peels away. So we said, let's put a box around the box. So when you open the box, you see our box. So we solved that problem. Then we had custom foam molding. By the way, this is all cheap. Just requires thoughtfulness. We had custom foam molding made, so when we put the items inside the box, they would stay where we placed them. So we could almost ensure that once that lid went down, everything was custom inside that box. What? So you may be thinking, Dan, I don't give a crap about this. Well, this is how you grow by more than 1,000%, really guaranteed, right? This is how you do it. You have this level of intimacy about this. So now, okay, so then we had this done. We had kicked it, we had shoved it, we had stepped on it. We knew the process. I put little tissue paper in there that was white with our fist in like a transparency inside of it. So you find a vendor who makes your boxes, a vendor for your tissue paper, a vendor for your notepads, a process to sign books. You create this manufacturing line, you get all of this in. By the way, this entire process took us about 3 months. from
Hey,
beginning.
talk to me. Hey, I know that you got more on this. Talk to me real quick because I can hear right now the excuses that are coming out. Hey, I'm just a sales guy. I'm a sales manager. I'm just a sales
Yeah.
executive. I mean, tie it together here for me. Let's talk about how those guys can execute on this too.
So for me, I tell people all the time, look, the number one, I'll tell audiences, while their sales manager is sitting here, the best chance you have of being massively successful is not adopting your company BS. It's to go rogue. 2 words, go rogue. Tattoo it on your arm, put it on your forehead, put it on your wall of your office, go rogue. This is built specifically for you, because I'll tell you, let me skip to the results. You already know 98%. I went after 200 people. We'll come back to the exact process. I went after 200 people. I spoke to 196. Isn't that crazy? So out of 200, I spoke to 100. When I started this process, Ken, I thought, it'd be cool if I made relationships with 4 to 5 people, close 4 to 5 deals. That would be that'd be killer. Because right now that's a 400 to 500% increase, right? So that's great. And in a minute, I'll tell you what the real number was. Right?
Yeah,
I'll tell you
it's amazing too when you talk about this, because you talk about this and it's one of those things where if we want to talk about cold calling, they're saying you get through between 2 and 20% of the time, right? You want to send a mass set of emails because we're talking about cold traffic, right?
Yep.
You send mass emails to traffic, it's 0.25%.
Yep.
So if you want to, the thing that really tied me here and the thing that I went, man, I got to get in here with Dan because he loves doing the crazy stuff and because he's making real change, was the idea that, look, if you want to be on the forefront of sales management, growing your company, you've got to be okay doing it differently. Stop talking. They got to stop telling us they can't do stuff and start trying to live extreme, as you would say.
Exactly. Yeah. So we had this box. Then we said, okay, I'm not going to send this to you. I'm going to create what I call a theater of success. So you go to the theater and the lighting is right, the costumes are right, the play is right. You go to Hamilton if you were lucky enough to get a ticket months ago or a year ago, and no one just got on stage and said, "Well, I'm going to wing it. I think I'm an accomplished actor. I'm going to wing it." And my makeup, I don't need all of those wigs and things. I can just give me a handgun. I'm good to go. I'm going to go up there. No, every special detail was carefully engineered. And it's why it went on to become multi millions of dollars in success. So I said, what's that for us? What's our theater of success, our Broadway of amazingness? And so what we said, okay, I know that people are busy. So if I don't hit you with a few messages right away, you're going to forget about me. By the way, in writing my book, 550,000 copies sold. As you mentioned, we had neuroscientists on our team, psychologists on our team. By the way, PhD, neuroscientist guys, MDs, not just somebody off the street who drinks beer and gives you good advice. We were our job was to get inside your head, kind of neurohack this process, because that's the background on some of this. But I thought, how do I neurohack you? One, I know you're busy. If it's not memorable, your brain automatically forgets it. If it's something that's threatening, you flee. So I can't be threatening and I can't be boring because you're going to ignore it. So how do I put something that's positioned adequately to get you what you want? So, the brain's bouncing around. So then we came up with this process, 14 steps over 30 business days. For those of you calculating in their head, that's 6 weeks, 5 days times 6, boom, do the math. It's right at 30 days. And I said, okay, now I'm going to control that theater, just like an opening act, a middle act, an ending act. I'm going to control that theater. I'm going to own it. And so we sent you an email, and the first email set a very clear tone. It said, hey, I'm Dan. I believe I'm a good fit for you specifically, and I want to talk to you about it. That was my opening sentence. By the way, using our neuroscientists and we have sent millions of emails on behalf of our customers. We've got a formula called 1-2-1. I don't want to be too distracting, but we know the formula: 1 sentence, 2 sentences, 1 sentence, and on a question, that produce massively better results than just about anyone else. No email we send is more than 5 sentences long. That's it. 3 paragraphs, 5 sentences. It works. We know why it works. We have conversations. Opening email says, I want to talk to you. The second paragraph says, here's why. And oh, by the way, I've linked to a short PDF because I know you're busy and you don't have time to talk. Here's a short PDF. We created a PDF, by the way, that works on your mobile phone as well, that swipes it's like a magazine. When you swipe from the corners, it automatically flips and makes a sound. Our first one was 14 pages long. That was a little rough. We backed it down to 5 pages, and it was all about pictures, testimonials, videos embedded. Imagine embedding a video inside a PDF. And so when someone played it, things zoomed out. It was elegant. And people were like, how did you do this? And I'm like, we're fucking awesome. That's what we do. If you think my stupid PDF is awesome you're watching on your phone, imagine what I will do on your stage. I mean, you won't even be wearing pants when I'm done. I mean, I'm going to blow them away. That's what we're doing. So they had this process, sent the email. Then we did some neat neuroscience. As soon as you opened the email twice, we called you. So on that very first day, we called you. Not myself, my chief of staff, someone else on my team would say, hey, Ken, Dan Waldschmidt here. I'm so delighted by, wouldn't say that. He would say, hi, Ken, Dan Waldschmidt here. Whatever my boss's name was, which was me, has been all in my business to set up a meeting between you and him. When can I do that? And usually the person would say something like this. Oh, cool. I just got an email from him. And he would go something like this. Fantastic. What a coincidence, right? Nothing crazy, nothing over the top, just saying like, look, great. Let's keep going. And so we would do that. And then if the meeting was booked, 13% of our meetings were booked on that very first email on that call that happened right there. 13% right away. 13%. Because the whole experience was so overwhelming. People were looking at this thing going, oh my gosh, like what? And then someone called them immediately. For all of you listening going, that's creepy. Guess what? My results are 400% better than yours. I automatically know. I've tested it. I've waited a day later to call them. I was 400% less successful waiting. So
let's be clear. That's 26 meetings at the first email after the box of awesome.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Boom. That's right. Right away. So, okay, here's what happened. So that happened. Then if we set a meeting, we would say, oh, Ken, I'm excited. And by the way, we always set these meetings 5 or 6 days away. Right? Nothing was tomorrow. Nothing was next day. 5 or 6 days. Because I would say, Ken, I'm so excited. Listen, I've got your address is 123 Lucky Street, Alabama, Georgia, blah, 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 blah. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Is there anyone I should put this in the attention to? No? Your secretary? Great. Fantastic. If, by the way, if they give you someone whose attention it should go to, that's awesome because now you're going to add that to your list for information gathering. And then I would say, we want to send you something. We lovingly call it a box of awesome, but really before we talk, it lets you know a little bit about who we are and what we stand for. And I look forward to, Dan will explain more when you guys talk on the 5th at 2 p.m., confirming all of that. If you don't mind, Ken, would you mind if I sent you a calendar invite with call-in information just to make sure everything works smoothly? Would that be helpful? And of course you would say, yes, it's helpful. Thanks. Do my work for me. And we would send a box of awesome and then away we would go. If everything worked perfectly on that first call, 13% of the time, we locked down the meeting, badoosh, away we go. If it didn't work, we called you a day later and still said, if you didn't take our phone call and you opened it, you would still get a call on the second day. And then on day 3, we would send you an email that said something like this. Hey, Ken, love to talk to you, but before I do, I'd love to send you a little something. Could you confirm that your address is, and we plug their address right into that. Here's what's funny. So about 1/3 of the people responded to the first email. My second email, which was actually the third interaction on the third day, so don't get confused by all the steps, but in that theater of success, it happened a couple days later. Another 30% of people would say, yes, that's my address. And what's cool about that is the conversation was started, right? Yeah. I started the conversation because I'm sending you something that's called a box of awesome. There is no one on the planet from Mother Teresa to Steve Jobs, and I'm not sure why I listed 2 dead people, but because they're not even on.
Well, but they're not going to argue with you, so
they can't argue with my logic. No one rejects that. They go, yeah, sure, sure, can't wait to get it. And we began to do this process. It was a carefully orchestrated process built out of a genuine love for these people, with a belief system that said, I mean, it's tattooed on my arm. The whole belief. I mean, it's like, look, we believe that we can help make their lives easier and better. So why wouldn't we be vigilant, Spartan-like in our reaching to them? So we made calls. We sent this went along day 1, day 2, day 3, day 5, day 7. We had all these processes that we were doing to deliver them awesome amounts of value. Somewhere along the lines, if they didn't, someone else on my team was calling, then I would actually call them and say, hey, Ken, Dan here. My team's been working really hard to set up a meeting between you and me, and I understand how busy you are, but I would be charmed if I could grab a few minutes with you. And as you know, I'm pretty persistent because of the emails and the process that we have. Imagine what we could do together. That's why I want to talk to you. And then even we used a service where we would send handwritten notes to people. And I would get our stationery and write a handwritten note. It was the same handwritten note, customized ever so slightly for them. And we sent off so it was over 30 days. They got 7 calls, 8 emails, a box of awesome, a handwritten note, calls from my team, calls from me. And 98% of the time, it was worth it because I knew I was going to talk to you. But, before we get too excited, I had a problem. And here was my problem. We only would go after 5 people a day. So for all of you thinking like, I need 50 new people, let me blow your mind with this. 5. That's it. 5 new people a day. 2 weeks into this process, I went to my chief of staff and I said, stop, shut it down, shut it down. Like put the whole thing on pause for a week. By the way, this is January 4th. Like people are, well, we kicked it off on January 4th, the first Monday back to work. Ken, I am messaging you on your first day back to work, possibly, and looking back on it, I can see what an idiot I was, possibly the most busy time of the year. I'm messaging you, and 98% of the time you got back to me. Now I know how to get those last 4 people. Don't message them on January 4th.
Yeah. So how are you going to figure out which 4 people then?
Well, I know who they are. I still hold a grudge because they're in my list, right?
Hey, let's be honest. Let's be honest. The story is so much better that you had 4 people who were stubborn and obstinate.
But you know how we in sales get all wrapped up around like awesome results. But so what I would do is say, Ken, love to talk to you. When can I carve off 15 to 20 minutes? 15 to 20 minutes is non-threatening. The appointment I send you was 1 hour. No one complained. And by the way, I had to earn every minute on the phone. And so what I would do is say, I would do one, and at 15 or 20 minutes, I'd be say, hey, Ken, want to be respectful of your time. Man, I'm loving this conversation. I can keep going if you want to, but I want to be respectful. 0.0 people said, I got to go. All of them said, no, man, this is great. Your appointment was actually 60 minutes. So I blocked off the time. Let's keep talking. And so we kept talking. And what the problem was, if you talk to 196 people, let's do the math. That's 196 hours. Yeah. 196 hours of conversations. And while I'm seeming like very pumped up and jacked up here, I am most of the time. You speak for 196 hours and you're like, I mean, just everything's exploding. And you're like, I don't even want to say another fucking syllable. Like no more syllables are coming out of my mouth. I said, shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. We shut it down for a week. I got my strength back. I went back to it. Now, I promised you results. So let me tell you my results. I was expecting 4 or 5 deals. I thought if I could do that, that grows me by like 400 to 500%, which is great. Some of you listening, you're happy for 5% growth.
Right.
I was happy with 500% growth, but I closed deals not with 4 or 5 and not with 40 or 50, not 40 or 50. I closed 83 deals, 83 deals. That's almost
41.5%.
That's right. 40% closing ratio. And so I guess my thought process those are real results. When you threw out that number at the beginning, oh, Dan's worked with clients and they've generated 17 billion. There are those of you listening who are like, oh, that's just Dan's bullshit. He's promoting himself. He's trying to talk big about what he's done. Listen, I generated 8,300% growth for myself over 30, actually got extended because I had to take time off because of how busy we were. But over, let's say 2 months, I did more business in 2 months than I had done in years, right? In years. Because of this radical reboot for sales engineering. And I guess my challenge to all of you is, it's no wonder that companies that are big or of any size who've got 20 of me or 10 of me could experience results that were 10 times greater or 20 times greater. It's just simple math. You've got more people being awesome, more people sending boxes of awesome. It's obvious math. That's how you get to $17 billion.
Yeah, that's insane. Because I think the thing that we limit, I mean, we've had all these conversations throughout the summit. We've talked to some great marketing people like Matt Hines. And I said to him, well, how does sales interact with marketing? I mean, think about the way that you do this. You got this ridiculous marketing budgets, no matter what, your small company, big company. Yeah. They're spending them on stuff that doesn't work. They have no direct revenue responsibility. It's not tied to anything.
Yep.
Take a process like this, and guess what? Like you said, worst case scenario, this shit doesn't work, or marketing doesn't go for it, or the company doesn't want to pay for it. Go rogue, because at the end of the day, it's about me developing, growing, selling, and if my company doesn't want to come on board, I'll go somewhere else.
Well, that's exactly right. So part of this is fundamentally digging into the stories we tell ourselves. Oh, I need support from my company, additional resources. No. You've got all you need. Pull out your credit card and go spend the money to do this right. And by the way, call me. I'm not going to charge you. I'll talk to you for free and tell you how to take this to the next level. The challenge is for many of you watching, I'm donating my time. You find one person on the internet who sells you, I called Dan and he wouldn't take my call. Or Dan promised me support and he wouldn't give it. I give this stuff away. I'm telling you. And I have people make more excuses like, oh, this is so impossible. No, this requires a reboot of what you think of as possible. It requires a reboot of your process, which is so busy. It requires a reboot of your thinking that says, oh, I need resources from my company. This is you standing on your own feet and saying, no, as a sales manager in a big company, I get it. You've got all these pressures. You've got this nut you've got to hit. You've got quota. You've got your people. You've got all this stuff. And you're out there and it can feel lonely. But there is a process. There is a plan that allows you to engage with people at a level where the results are so stratospherically better than anything you've ever experienced before. You're crazy not to engage in the process.
Yeah, it's the best spend you'll ever have personally or professionally in order to go get it done.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and by the way, you were talking about sales and marketing, and you'll hear very smart people talking about sales and marketing alignment. Sure. Why not? Right? It's great wording. And by the way,
let's be honest. It's kind of like a unicorn. Everybody says they've seen it, but nobody can show me it.
Exactly. It's like, okay, conceptually, yeah, let's align. I've used different wording. And by the way, if you're internal and trying to talk to your organization, and you might want to borrow this wording, I call it sales targeting. So I don't call it sales and marketing. I call it sales targeting. Yeah. I think marketing is really the job of targeting some people. And then of course, sales is the business of sales. And I squash all this together and call it sales targeting. You still need to build awareness, the full ADA loop, awareness, interest, desire, action. You need all of that. But I also feel like a process like this crystallizes this and creates this theater. And now I made a bold claim when I started this with you, Ken. I said, be incredibly easy to do business with and be so awesome people ask for more. I think if you've listened to this, you kind of go, yeah, I get it. Now I know how I can be so awesome that someone says, dude, how do I give you more money? Like, it's amazing. So that's where we have to refactor our thinking, do kind of a gut check on some of this stuff that we've taken for granted. Look, we'll read sales books till the cows come home. And I think you should. You should always be leveling your game up. But look, shame on you if you're not willing to really take a step back and do what's best for you. Whether you're in sales or sales management, inside sales, outside sales, ask yourself this question. What if I had an environment where people just wanted to buy from me? Wouldn't that be awesome? And then if you answered, yeah, it would be awesome, here's my next challenge. Then why not go create that? Because that's what we've been talking about.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable. I think what's fantastic about this interview is that you've taken the time, laid out the whole process that you normally charge a lot of money for. We won't get into the actual dollars.
Bajillions.
Yeah, bajillions. Yeah, let's put it this way. You'll give me a box of awesome, then, sales goal, 100 trillion. I don't know what it is. But you've been fantastic, and I love how you've laid it out. You've given them a process. You said be easy to do business with. Be so awesome that they want to give you money. Set up your contact strategy. Make sure you put it together like an assembly line, and go rogue, because at the end of the day, I'm tired. I run there and I go talk to salespeople, sales managers all the time. They give me well, what if this is a problem? These things don't work. Well, guess what? The way that I made it, the way that Dan made it, the way that people have made it who've been successful is we decided we wanted it and we went and took it.
So let me throw one other thing in there. Let me throw one other thing up. So in everything we've done, I started this years ago and I never changed it. Even though our revenue went up and up and up, and it went from, thousands to 6 digits, to 7 digits, to 8, and we started doing business all over the world, we have a 200% money back guarantee on everything we do. So I tell this to leaders, listen, I won't do a proposal. look, you pay me. If it doesn't work, not only will I give you my money back, but in writing, I will give you an amount to match that as well. That's how confident we are. And so talk about being incredibly easy to do business with. That's the model we link to, which is like, look, it works. It's guaranteed to work. And if it doesn't, like, I'm going to give you my money to the tune of whatever you've paid me. And so again, that takes any of the worry or fear out of people feeling like they have to do, they're not sure how to do business with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. You removed risk. Well, you've been very gracious with your time and fantastic as I would have expected. Do me a favor real quick. Tell people how they can get in contact with you if they want to learn more outside of the summit.
Yeah. So you can go to danwaldschmidt.com. My blog's there. It's really popular. Let me point out one thing. Every Saturday, we publish a story of a high performer. Everyone from like Alex Zanardi, who was an F1 racer who lost both his legs, but went on to become an Olympic champion, to Gabby Baron-Keitze, who rescued 30,000 orphans in the middle of Burundi. Amazing. So we tell these stories because they empower and inspire us. And by the way, what I gave you is very practical, intentionally. Can't ask me, be practical. So I brought you something very practical, but some of you know processes and you don't implement them because it's your head game. And so that's delivered every Saturday. We've got blogs every day, podcasts. Most of it is free. You can go to danwaldschmidt.com and get most of it for free. If you want to level up your game, well, shoot, there's ways to do that there too.
Yeah, it's awesome. And just to put something on the outside of that, and Dan Waldschmidt's blog has been called one of the top 7 sales blogs in the world. So I would encourage anyone watching this to get it. But, Dan, you delivered just as I thought you would, and just as you promised. So all I can tell you is everybody's going to have to go out and crush quota now, because otherwise it's only their own damn fault.
Absolutely. Go get some.
We'll see you on the other side.